Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I have a guest on from the community that has been in our community for a very long time. Her mother had a daycare center here for a number of years, and she took it over and ran it for a number of years. And she serves on the LaGrange Historical Commission, and she has served on the Troup County Archives Commission Society as well. We have none other than Gwen Redwine. Gwen, welcome to the show.
Hello, Alton.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine.
Well,
just
Gwen,
a little cold.
I was about to say, Gwen, I see you bundled up over here today, right? A little chilly outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know where this cold weather came from in the month of March here like this, but we'll take it and move on down the road, right?
Yeah.
Well, Gwen, you know, I know that you have been here in our community and done a lot of great things and have served the community by raising children there at the daycare center that was on Ware Street a number of years ago. But tell us just a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, before we get started.
I'm a LaGrange native. I was born here. I ain't gonna give the year.
Okay, that's okay. I won't tell mine.
I was born here. I was here mostly through the 60s and everything. And I have 3 children, Elena, Lanier, and Amy. And they were raised here in LaGrange also.
Oh, okay.
But I went to West Georgia College and Reinhardt Junior College.
Okay.
And so I'm committed to family and community because when we were young, our mother made sure that we were part of the community. American Cancer Society, American Heart Association, you know, we had to do all those committees, and then also Boy Scout, Girl Scouts, and Explorer Scout.
Okay, all right. Well, you mentioned your mother, and you have to mention your dad as well, Gwen, because I know that a lot of the community know who your dad is too.
Reverend J.R. Ware.
That's right.
Been pastor at Welcome Baptist Church over 50 years. And
he also served on the city council, right?
Yes, he's a retired city councilman for the city of LaGrange.
City of LaGrange. Now, Gwen, you know, we were together probably, I think it was back in 2019, right before COVID, and we had started a series on the Hamilton Road Corridor, just some noted places in history and areas that may have been forgotten, or some areas that people may not even known about. And you being a local historian and serving on the LaGrange Historical Society or Commission for a number of years, you know a lot of the history via your father, via your mom before her passing, and via other relatives in your family. And you know, for all the works that you've done here in the community, it has prompted you to want to do more. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But when we left off last time, we were talking about, again, the Hamilton Road Corridor, some of the areas there. Give us just an overview of that Hamilton Road Corridor from where you remember it as a child to what you see it now.
Okay. We'll start at the Whitesville Road,
that's
traffic light is. Now there's a convenience store there. But where the convenience store is, that used to be Wade Tire.
Okay.
And we visited there quite often.
Okay.
But we'd be so excited in the car because they had little person, little man that would be rolling the big tires, and tires be taller than him. And we would just be looking and laughing, you know, look at him. But then later on they moved across the road to the other way, which is no longer there now.
Right, okay.
So that's what we remember as, you know, kids growing up right there on that corner.
Okay.
Then across that over there where Mr. Thomas has his little curb market where he has collard greens and watermelons and everything. That little corner, that was a corner service station too that was owned by African Americans.
Okay.
Lloyd Jones, Glenn Robinson, you know, different ones on that service station there on that corner.
Oh, okay.
And then so we come on up Hamilton Road, and on the left, past away, there was Reverend Adams had a record shop there at one time. And you could going by the new 45s. As soon as they came out, Jane Brown sold all of them.
He was the one with hot item, right?
He was a hot item.
Okay.
We could buy records right there. And then we come on up and the funeral home moved back to Hamilton Road because Lakes Dunson Robinson. They was Potts funeral home uptown where the Mansures is.
Oh, okay.
And then Mr. James Dunson, who was a pillar in our community, he bought houses and rented out. You know, so he was a big businessman here in our community.
Okay, all right.
And then Scott Lake and James Johnson, they got together and started Lakes Dunson, and then Glenn Robinson would come in later.
Okay, okay. So that's how it became Lakes Dunson Robinson Funeral Home. Okay.
Yeah. And across the street from there was the Atlanta Life Insurance Office. They moved from up there uptown on Callaway Line, where the Mansures building was, and so they moved to Hamilton Road also. And then we'll come across there, and it's Hurd Street, and there was a nightclub down there.
Oh.
They said Lynne Holle sung at the nightclub down there.
Really?
The White Lily Club.
The White Lily Club.
Yeah.
That's what it was called? Okay.
Yeah. Then a little bit later, then Hots moved there. Then there was another.
That was the barber shop, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then there was another cafe there. Oh, there's a cafe over there beside Lake Dunson Robinson. Ben Cameron had a cafe over there, and he had a big cafe uptown too. And Miss Annie Willoughby, she had a cafe too.
Wow.
So it was a lot of businesses right in there. And behind the cemetery, behind the funeral home, they was the American Legion.
Right.
They named it J.C. Holiday building. It's still standing, but it's in disrepair. So we would love to restore it, but a lot of historic buildings and stuff you can't get the money to restore them like you want to.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Gwen, because this is a laundry list of what was in this area once upon a time, and the Hamilton Road widening has has taken a lot of this out. Do you think in your repertoire or some of your relatives or others we may have photographs of this area that we could put in later on in a history center or something of that nature?
I don't know what to say. We sounding out. We need as many pictures as we can get.
That's right.
From that area.
Okay.
We'll give you a website in a few minutes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very good.
That that our younger people can send to us.
That's right. Okay. Can research and right, because that's and this was a thriving African American hub here.
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right. Had a lot of the things, and you mentioned about the funeral home downtown at the Mansour site. So I understand. I think when you were on before, you were also telling that was a hub for African American businesses as well.
Yes, at downtown. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let me ask you, because you see Hamilton Road has transformed. A lot of the things that you just mentioned are no longer there. Even some of the newer businesses that are located there in the quarter, especially right there in that Fannin Street over to the Weissel Street block, a lot of those businesses are no longer there.
Yes. Mr. Ellis Spence, he came in and fixed what used to be White's barbershop. That restored it and everything. Is very beautiful. And I heard his wife has a beauty shop down there on that corner also.
I know that the barbershop is still there, and there's a restaurant that's in the area there as well, where or the Roger used to sit out and with the grills and stuff. There's a restaurant right there in that area, and there may be a beauty shop down in the area as well too. Okay, all right. Let me ask you, Gwen, having known and seen how things were then and seeing what has taken place within that area, how has that impacted you and your take on history and how significant it is for you? How has that impacted you?
It's impacted me, quite a bit. Being on with the LaGrange Historic Preservation, I've gone to a couple of state meetings, and when we go to the state meetings, you are afforded going on tours of what they have preserved as part of their history, and I just feel like LaGrange has let that slide away from us, and we need to work on trying to save what we can.
Absolutely. That's why I was asking about the photographs and the pictures. So we definitely want to make a pitch for anybody that may have relatives of some of these business owners back in the day. If they have photographs, we'd like to get copies of them if we could, because I know that you are embarking on another journey and a venture that is trying to capture this information. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in our second segment of this series. But Gwen, also, you've done a lot of things, here locally. You said you went to a state meeting. Back in October of last year, you were awarded an award from the Georgia Archives. Talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
They had a beautiful reception for us and everything, and the reason why I got nominated was because of the work that I've done over at the Mulberry Street Cemetery.
Okay.
We had to we had applied for a grant from the Georgia Humanities through the Troup County Historical Society, and in the middle of trying to get it done, a lot of things happened, and with me getting sick also in the middle of it, but I was able to transform that information to the state of Georgia through the Georgia Archives, and I was afforded that award for all the work that I've worked on doing that cemetery. Mr. and Mrs. Green, they nominated me to be with the Historical Society, and they said they thought I would be interested in it. And at that time, I was trying to keep the daycare center going because we were expanding there and everything. But Mr. and Ms. Green, what they said, they gave it to somebody that was interested and could keep it going, and I thank them for opening up that part of my life.
Very good. And
the cemetery, Dr. George Baker, a dentist, local dentist here, member of Omega Psi Phi, he said that he felt like Horace King Grave needed to be improved, so we applied for the grant and got a grant to improve his site, and the city of LaGrange stepped in and helped us get it done.
Very good.
And so it's on Mulberry Street, past the railroad track. And if you have kids or anything, make sure you take them over there. There are historic markers all the way through there. And recently, the city of LaGrange helped us, and the Callaway Foundation and Callaway Garden donated a bridge that he built that was down at Callaway Garden, and so we have had that put up and restored.
Absolutely.
And so we're still working on it. So we're hoping on getting markers for the grave and some history written up about the cemetery, how important that cemetery is there, because there are over 400 graves there. And so that's what we're working on right now.
Great place for us to stop, Gwen, because our time has expired for now. But I definitely want to, we're going to come back in a moment because we want to continue this series because we're leading up to some bigger and better things for the city of LaGrange and for the African American community. And you have been that impetus and that pillar, the mother of this, we're going to call you, for this movement of making sure that the history of that Hamilton Road corridor and other places that may have been forgotten are not forgotten. So Gwen, if I ask you just to hold tight, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back and finish up in just a moment, okay?
Okay.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're sitting down with local historian Gwen Redwine as she talks about the Hamilton Road corridor, past and present. And ladies and gentlemen, as we were talking about those various things, if there's any viewing audience, a person out there that may have photographs of any of those locations back then, as Gwen talked about, please, we'd love to have you to submit those. We're going to give you a website address here in a moment to submit those to, because we definitely want to capture this history, because Gwen is embarking on a bigger and better journey of how we're going to bring all this together so that we can educate not only the population of today, but those populations that will come after us. Gwen, so I just want to say thank you for all this information. You know, this is great to know the history of an area that I grew up not very far from. I grew up over there off of Snelson Street when we moved here to town, which is just one street over from the Hamilton Road corridor. And to know a lot of these things that were there back during your time and to see what's there now is just truly remarkable. But Gwen, we left off talking about the Mulberry Street Cemetery, and that's a very unique cemetery within itself, because there you talked about we have approximately 400 plus unmarked graves that we believe to be orderly slaves and you know, various other individuals that are buried there. And the city and you, along with the Historical Commission, got a grant. And so if you don't mind, pick back up talking about that a little bit for us, if you don't mind.
Okay. In applying for that grant, we have to have an entity like the city of LaGrange with us, and so we were able to order an obelisk for Horace King's grave, because before it was just a concrete slab. And it had a little marble marker on it, but the slab was broken in two. And so we have some photos of that. Okay. And after we applied for that grant, and then the city saw, you know, what it was going to do for the community, then we wanted to add that cemetery as part of places when you want to visit LaGrange, because it's a historic cemetery. Those graves there were older than the Confederate graves. The Confederate cemetery is also located there. And but these graves are older than that. We did, Lynn Stroger from Woodbury came and did some underground penetrating radar. And so he was able to know that by the head shapes of some of the bones that were left, that it was African American. So I just thought that would be, you know, I had already been working on it, but you know, when all of that came to light, then I got very excited as for our African American or Black Heritage Trail. Okay, that's what they have in other cities and other states, where you can find out all your African American history.
Right. Okay. And you know, Gwen, talking about that, you know, the Horace King grave site, the grave sites of the African American other individuals that we know that are there. you now are taking on another journey. We don't just want to talk about all of this history and then just to be able to show people where these things are located, but we want to have you have an idea to have an education or a history center where people can come and learn more about the history of LaGrange and various notable people that have come through LaGrange. Talk about the organization that you're a part of, if you don't mind.
We have started a group called ECHA, and it's set up to with local citizens who can come together and help us get all of this history together into an educational center.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started out, and we're still working on the Epps house.
Mm-hmm.
When DOT came through, and they did not want to tear that house down because it was built in 1900.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in 1910, we found two more houses on the street where they were born that were done in 1900.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Levi Brown, Miss Shirley Cox, grandfather,
Uh-huh.
and then also Perry Thomas, his family. They have a house there.
That's
and
right.
all of this is on Fannin Street.
On Fannin. Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be about 2 blocks from the historic cemetery.
That's right.
So, so it just, all of it just coming together and intertwining, because I never dreamed that we would be doing all of this when I had the little project of trying to do Horace King grave. That was all what I'm supposed to have been doing.
Well, Gwen, you used to come to the commission and say, Alton, we got to do some other things. Remember you telling me that every meeting?
No, he don't want y'all to tell me how many years I begged him. Okay, I begged.
That's right, you did. Absolutely.
But once it started opening up, just researching Horace King, it just went. It went citywide,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, everybody, why you keep talking about him? He was very important to this community before before it really became a city.
Mm-hmm.
He built all the bridges across the Chattahoochee River. Mm-hmm. All the covered bridges across Chattahoochee River.
Mm-hmm.
There's a replica of his bridge over in Meriwether County. If you're ever over in Meriwether County, over in Greenville,
mm-hmm.
you can walk across it. You can drive across it.
Mm-hmm.
one of the bridges that he has over there.
Wow.
I mean, ours is not going to be big enough to be driving across.
Right.
I don't think.
No, it's just going to be a showpiece and
Okay.
walk across. That's right. That's right.
Okay, but I think that is very important. If you go on your website and look for anything that say covered bridges, Horace King is on there.
He's going to come up. That's
He's
right.
going to come up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Gwen, you said ECHA, and I want our viewing audience to know what ECHA stands for. ECHA, because I'm a part of that as well. ECHA is Enlightenment Center for African American History, and that's what you have brought to the community that you want the community to know about. And there's a group of us that's working together to collaborate to bring all of this together, because as you mentioned earlier, tourism. Tourism is a big revenue generator. Mm-hmm. So when people come to the city of LaGrange, not only do we want them to visit, to walk the thread, to go over to the Horace King area and the Mulberry Street Cemetery, but we want them to see other notable places of African American history along that Hamilton Road corridor, because you unveiled a laundry list here of notable businesses that were located there back in the times when African Americans were not allowed to go into some of the establishments of the non-African Americans. And so we had our very own businesses that are there. And so I'm so happy that you and the group are working together to bring this to fruition so that we can teach our younger folks about their heritage and their history. And then there have been a number of people of notoriety that come from the LaGrange area. You mentioned the Epps house there, and that was home of Dr. Epps. And I know that you know the history more so than I do, because I learned it from you, Gwen. But again, talk about how this will tie into tourism when we unveil all these various locations. Gwen, how do you think that would impact tourism in our community?
very much so. I just told you about 3 houses. You know, there's another house there at the corner of Mulberry and Reeve Street, and it was built in 1920. And I had relatives that lived there, so I know what that house looked like from front to the back, you know, and everything, and it's still standing, you know. And so in doing tourism in other cities, the African American communities are not shunned, you know, and you know they are a spotlight. If you talk about Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, the Herndon home in Atlanta, you know, there is a mansion on Pinson Street in Noonan, Georgia.
I've been there.
That's what really. That's where I really started working on. Also, there's a Cayuga County African American Museum there in Noonan at the Farmer Street Cemetery, and it was part of the Berry Plantation, and so you know, so there are places that you and this museum is only 2 blocks from downtown Noonan.
Okay, all right.
You know, and nobody was paying any attention to it. We got a grant from the Delta Foundation because one of the ladies who started it worked for Delta.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So really, and then once you start looking, going to the conferences, that would really open our eyes to, you know, seeing that all over the state of Georgia, you know, we have every kind of museum. They got every kind of museum they is, you know, from Thomaston all the way to Dahlonega, Georgia.
Okay. Gwen, as we get ready to wrap up, such an exciting, interesting interview, give people your email address, and I'm going to give them mine as well, because as we continue to work on this Education History Center, we need photographs. We need stories, we need articles, we need all of those various things that anyone that may be viewing, we need those articles. We'd like to get copies of them so we can continue to tell the story. If you don't mind, give them your email address, please.
Email address is Ladora, Ladora, family history, all small, at gmail.com.
All right. That's LadoraFamilyHistory@gmail.com. And I'm also going to go out and give you my address, my email address as well. And I'm going to give you here at the City of LaGrange. It's awest@lagrangega.org. Gwen, this is an exciting time. I thank you for having the vision to want to do more for the generations to come, the generations that have been here, because there are a lot of notable people, like Horace King, who's buried here in LaGrange. There are a lot of other people that have come from LaGrange that are multimillionaires, businessmen and women, doctors, all of those other various professions. And we want to make sure that their stories get told and they're highlighted. And I thank you for having that vision to want to bring to fruition the ECHA, which is Enlightenment Center for African American History, to the City of LaGrange. So thank you very much for being my guest today. This won't be your last time, Gwen. I'm just going to let you know now, okay? So just be prepared, all right? I do want to thank you for being my guest today, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week coming up in just a moment. As always, I am visiting now from Visit LaGrange by Lynne Holle, that will give us an update on all the things that are taking place in and around our great city of LaGrange. Lynne, I hope that you're doing well today.
I am. It's cold outside though.
It is cold. Who ordered up this cold weather in March?
I know it. It came in like the wind. Maybe it's going to go out like the lamb.
We definitely hope so.
I hope so. All right, so Alton, we're going to be talking about the events that are going to be going around during the week of March 20th through the 26th.
All right.
All right. Tuesday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m., LaGrange Symphony Orchestra concert celebrating education at Callaway Auditorium. The LaGrange Symphony Orchestra looks forward to seeing you at our March 21st concert, which celebrates education. This event will be held at beautiful Callaway Auditorium, which is on the campus of LaGrange College in LaGrange, Georgia. The concert begins at 7:30 p.m. Hope to see you there. Friday, March 24th at 7:30 p.m., John Tavius Willis and Friends live at Pure Life House of Music. Coming our way with hand-picked stellar musicians, a brand new album, and an Opryland debut under his belt, along with many other accolades to tote, Joe Tavius Willis is stronger than ever, and back with his listening on the front porch style. Many fans of Willis regard him as an old soul. His style of finger-picking, strumming patterns and rhythms, along with his voice, touches the very roots of country blues. John Tavius brings back the true soul of the music. A newspaper headline once called him a 70-year-old bluesman in a 20-year-old body. Saturday, March 25th at 10 a.m., join us for the Community Easter Egg Hunt at South Bend Park. LaGrange First United Methodist Church invites you to a free community Easter egg hunt at South Bend Park in downtown LaGrange on Saturday, March 25th. There will be more than 5,000 eggs hidden for children ages 11 and under, plus prize baskets, candy, and activity stations at this family event. Rumor has it that even the Easter Bunny might be making an appearance also. We look forward to seeing you on March 25th at 10 a.m. Don't forget to bring those baskets. Sunday, March 26th from 2:30 until 7 p.m., Hair for a Cause at Callaway Conference Center. Hair for a Cause is a nonprofit organization that helps families who are going through financial hardship. HFC has a hair and fashion show yearly with help from participants and models that showcase their work. Alton, those are just a few of the events that are going to be going on during that week. So everybody needs to get out, have fun, and stay safe.
Especially if it warms up, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know it.
Lynne, thank you always for sharing this great information with us, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining City Week this week. My guests have been from the LaGrange Historical Commission and also a local historian. I had on Gwen Redwine, and then she's also a member of ECHA, which is Enlightenment Center for African American History. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed this interview and hope that you always come back and join us for more of City Week.
Happy birthday, Alton.
Thank
Have
you,
a great day.
I will. Thank you so much, Lynne.
Wear that green.
That's right.